there, I'm Marcy Chavalis, and it's story time. Today's story comes from the Ordinary People Change the World series by Brad Meltzer, and it's illustrated by Christopher Eliopoulos. And this is I Am Helen Keller. I am super excited to read about Helen Keller, who is very, very famous. And it says it includes the Braille alphabet. That's really cool. Let's flick the book over to learn more about it. I am Helen Keller. I won't let anything stop me. I love that. That's going to be the lesson that we're going to learn in today's book, that don't let anything stop you, just like Helen Keller won't let anything stop her. Here's a summary of the book where we can read more about what we're going to be learning about in a short form. When Helen Keller was very young, she got a disease that forever destroyed her ability to see and hear. Oh no. But Helen wasn't a quitter, and with the help of a wonderful patient teacher named Miss Sullivan, she learned how to communicate, at first through hand gestures and then through speech. She also learned how to read, thanks to an amazing invention called Braille. Helen was the first deaf and blind person to graduate from college, and she spent the rest of her life helping others and making her voice heard. This lively New York Times best-selling biography series inspires kids to be leaders themselves, one great role model at a time. We can all be heroes. And if you love these stories, there is a cartoon series on PBS Kids called Xavier Riddle and the Secret Museum that highlights these biography stories. All right, let's dive in and read the story. Ready? Let's grow. If you're an AR reader, it is level 3.1. It's quiz number 176756, and it's worth half of a point. I am Helen Keller. I am Helen Keller. Oh, look at, she's happy in the sun. When I was little, I was just like you. I loved to play. I loved my dog. I loved seeing all the bright, beautiful flowers. I also loved copying people. At 6 months old, I can already say, "How'd ya? How'd you yourself? Tea, tea, tea." Did she just ask for tea? How'd she do that? What can I say? There's no stopping her. On the day I turned 1, I started walking. Oh, and there was another word I always loved. Wah-wah. Here's your water. Just like any other kid, right? There's one thing that made me different. When I was 19 months old, I got very sick. The doctor said I wouldn't live. I did live, but the sickness made me blind and deaf. Oh, that's so scary, boys and girls. She was having a regular life, and then she got very sick, and it took away her ability to see. That means that's here the word blind, and her ability to hear, which means deaf. So now she can't see or hear. That must have been very scary for her. This is how I see the world. Close your eyes and block your ears. I couldn't see anything or hear anything. That's right, nothing. That'd be so hard. I wonder how she's going to overcome not being able to see or hear, and she's so young. Her family is probably having a hard time figuring out how to help her. Let's read and find out how they help her. I know it seems scary. It was scary for me too. Back then, people didn't know how to deal with someone who was deaf and blind. My relatives thought I was a monster. Oh no, that's awful. She's just a little girl. You see the way she behaves? She put her hand in my plate. She ate my food. Wah! 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 She's trying to find her water. She's so poorly behaved, she shouldn't be here. She threw the silverware, too. They're not being very understanding, are they? They were right. I wasn't well behaved. I was extremely frustrated. In my dark world, I couldn't tell if anyone noticed me or cared about me. I couldn't see or hear what I was doing. Poor little Helen. Adults are not being very understanding of what she's going through. But by the time I was 5, I figured out small ways to communicate. To say yes, I nodded my head. For no, I shook it from side to side. To say father, I motioned to put on his glasses. For mother, I rested my hand on my face. For my baby sister, I did this. And when I'd shiver like I was cold, it really meant Helen wants ice cream. Wow, she's very smart. She's finding different ways to show her family what she needs. But even with those signs, I couldn't get my dog Belle to play with me. I didn't know how to speak, so I couldn't call her. I just wanted to play with my dog. The saddest part was I got used to a dark and silent world. People told my parents to give up on me, that I'd never be good at anything. Those people were crazy. They didn't listen though. Yay! Good job, parents. After reading about another blind and deaf girl, my parents found something they hadn't since I'd gotten sick: hope. This says there are places that teach deaf and blind children. That's what she needs. She needs a teacher. We all do. Everyone needs a teacher. Still, I had no idea what the world was about to bring me. I'm so glad that her parents read. So sometimes we can get ideas by reading and searching for information. They read about teachers that could help their daughter. It's going to be wonderful. I never had a more important day. I was 6 years old. From the way my mother was hurrying, I knew something big was coming. I stood on the porch, waiting, feeling the sun on my face. Someone approached. I could feel footsteps. I reached out, thinking it was my mother. She pulled me into her arms. Her name was Miss Sullivan. She's the teacher who changed my life. Oh, that makes me so happy. Teachers can change lives. In one of her first lessons, she gave me a toy doll. After letting me play with it, she spelled the word doll on the palm of my hand. D-O-L-L. D-O-L-L. Doll. Can you feel the letters? I could feel them, but I didn't know what letters or words were, or how they worked. It didn't stop Miss Sullivan. One day, we were arguing as she was trying to teach me the words mug and water. I got so upset I took my new doll and smashed it on the ground. I got angry a lot back then. It was so hard for me. I was frustrated. Oh, it must be hard. Never losing her patience, my teacher took me outside. At a nearby spout, she put my hand under the running water. In my other hand, she spelled the word W-A-T-E-R. W-A-T-E-R. Then she spelled it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. W-A-T-E-R. 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 You understand, don't you? You understand. Water. I understood. From there, I realized that everything had a name. Every object I touched seemed to burst into life. Mother, dog, table, lamp, father, sister, teacher. And now, when I wrote words in my teacher's hand, I had someone who could understand me. When you're learning something new, it's often hard. I started with words. My vocabulary grew fast. Eventually, I learned the meaning of the word love. I had given my teacher some flowers, so she spelled it into my hand. I love Helen. What is love? Confused, I asked her. It is here, she spelled while tapping at my heart. I was still confused. It was hard to understand something I couldn't touch. It made no sense. Why couldn't my teacher show me love? But then she explained, you can't touch clouds, but you can feel rain and know how happy flowers are to get watered. That is how love is. You can't touch love, but you can feel how happy it makes you. There, in that moment, my whole world changed. It was as if there were invisible lines that stretched between me and everyone else in my life. Close your eyes. You can feel it too. Your connection to your family and friends. Oh, I love how the teacher's taking time to help Helen understand and to learn new words so that she can communicate what she thinks and she feels. Still, life was never easy. Without sight, I couldn't see people's faces. Without sound, I couldn't hear their voices. But one of my greatest breakthroughs came when I learned to do what you're doing right now. Reading. Read without eyes? How's she going to do that? you'll read with your fingers. On this cardboard, you'll feel raised dots. The dots make letters. The letters make words. This is the word for doll. To practice, I'd match each word with this object and make sentences. This was my favorite game. We played it for hours. See if you can find the sentence, girl is in wardrobe. Oh, let's look. Doll is on bed. Book is falling. Teacher is proud. Dog is smelly. Sister is pooping. Oh no. Flowers on desk. Oh, girl is in wardrobe. Good job. From there, I started reading real books, just like you. The only difference was my books were in Braille, which is a series of raised dots that you read with your fingers. Go ahead and try. Move your pointer finger over the dots below. Oh. At first, it feels bumpy, right? You'll get used to it. These dots spell my name. H-E-L-E-N, Helen. Want to read your name in Braille? Here's the alphabet. Run your pointer finger over the letters. Now close your eyes. There you go. Now you're reading just like me. Oh, look at each of the letters has a different shape of dots, and that helps someone who can't see or hear learn what they are. That is really cool. To make reading even more fun, my teacher took me outside. She knew I loved feeling the sun on my face and smelling the pine needles. I read my book so many times, I wore down the raised dots. There were the Arabian Nights, Robinson Crusoe, and one of my favorites, Little Women. In those pages, I met brave boys and girls who could hear and see. I am not afraid of storms, for I am learning how to sail my ship. One of Miss Sullivan's best lessons came when she showed me how plants grow. Feel these buds. Some buds open fast, others open slowly. A flower can only bloom if it's watered. When I was 9 years old, I wanted to learn how to speak. Even Miss Sullivan was worried about teaching me. She thought I'd get frustrated, but nothing would stop me now. To help me, Miss Sullivan took me to a teacher named Sarah Fuller, who would put my hand on her face and let me feel her tongue and lips as she made each sound. Yes, Helen, feel each sound like the vibrating strings on a piano. In an hour, I learned the letters M, P, A, S, T, and I. Ma. Wow, these teachers are being very creative, and that's helping Helen learn. Now, I could call my dog and she'd come to me. At my 7th lesson, I spoke this sentence in the sentence that I'd repeat over and over. I am not dumb now. Oh, that's so sad that Helen felt like she was not smart because she couldn't see and hear. That's not right. She just needed the right teacher and the right help. As I got older, I didn't just learn to speak English. I learned French and German. For college, I wanted to go to Radcliffe at Harvard University. That's one of the best schools in the world. Maybe she should wait another year. Deaf and blind people don't go to college. I'm going. Oh, good job. I wouldn't argue. There's no stopping her. At Harvard, most of my books weren't available in Braille, so Miss Sullivan spelled out many of the textbooks in my hand. That's how much I loved learning. And that's how patient and selfless Miss Sullivan was. Wow. I became the first deaf and blind person to earn a college degree. I wouldn't be the last. As I grew older, I wrote 12 books and visited 34 countries. But the most important thing I did was make sure that other people with disabilities get the same education I had. I love how she was able to receive help that she needed, and she decided to go and help other people. My family had the money to hire a private teacher. Not everyone is that lucky. Here she is. We need to give every person an equal chance. She sounds so strong. Today, thousands of deaf and blind students enrolled in universities thanks to the work Helen did. Riding a horse? How did she do that? That was only the beginning. I didn't just help the deaf and blind. I started fighting for social change, to help women vote, to help the poor survive, and to help people who needed it most. She was one of the earliest supporters of the ACLU to fight for free speech. She was also one of the first supporters of the NAACP to help Black people get equal rights as well. She met every president from Grover Cleveland to Lyndon Johnson. But let's be honest, they met her. Today, the American Foundation for the Blind and Helen Keller International continue to help the blind and hungry. That's wonderful. Her legacy keeps living on. In my life, they said I was different. They said I'd never be normal. But the truth is, there's no such thing as a normal life. Every one of us is like a flower that must be watered. Every one of us is full of potential, and every one of us can overcome obstacles. Look at me. Hear my words. I may not be able to see, but I have vision. I may not be able to hear, but I have a voice. Think of your life as a hill that must be climbed. There's no correct path to get to the top. We all zigzag in our own ways. At some point, you'll slip, you'll fall, you'll tumble back down again. But if you get back up and keep climbing, I promise you. Ooh, I want to hear the next page. Let's read the bubbles of people talking. She's the first statue in the U.S. Capitol that's of a child. I really want to know, how do you do all that stuff? I just decided I could. Let's see, I promise you, you will reach the top. Don't let anything hold you back. Our lives are what we make of them. There will always be obstacles, but there will always be ways around them. I am Helen Keller. I won't let anything stop me. Oh, and the last thing, go say thank you to that teacher who helped you when you needed it the most. Oh, what a great thing to say. Helen Keller said, "The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched, but just felt in the heart." Here are some real pictures of Helen Keller. Here's Helen at age 8 with Miss Sullivan. Here's Helen with her Boston Terrier. And here's Helen hearing Eleanor Roosevelt by touching her moving lips. And here's a timeline of Helen Keller's life. From her birth in June 27, 1880, till her death in Easton, Connecticut in June 1st, 1968. And all the parts of her life. Wow, I am so thankful that you read I Am Helen Keller with me. What an inspiring story about someone who overcame death and blindness so that she could make a difference and still is making a difference today. Well, if you want someone else to hear this story, go ahead and click the like button right now. And if you want to hear the next story that I come out with and be the first to be notified, click the subscribe button so you won't miss out. All right, until next time, goodbye. Thanks for reading with me.